history heading into default. Let's discuss that and some new demographics, a new map showing us the intriguing 2012 campaign situation with CNN political contributors Alex Castellanos. He's a Republican consultant, and Cornell Belcher, Democratic pollster who worked for the Obama campaign back in 2008. Let's start with this debt ceiling debate. You just heard Mike Lee, newly elected senator, Tea Party, knocked off an incumbent to come here to Washington. And I know the Democrats are saying, you know, why are these Tea Party guys are getting in the way? But they promised Cornell Belcher to do this. They promised to do this, to hold the line on spending. And so they come here with an attitude that might be different than many members in Washington. Listen to John Boehner. He did the conservative radio show, Laura Ingraham show, this morning. And he's talking about how some of these guys simply don't think getting to default without a plan is a horrible thing.
Well, first, they want more. And my goodness, I want more, too. Secondly, a lot of them believe that if we get past August the 2nd, we have enough chaos, we could force the Senate and the White House to accept a balanced budget amendment. I'm not sure I don't think that strategy works. Because I think the closer we get to August the 2nd, frankly, the less leverage we have vis-a-vis our colleagues in the Senate and the White House.
Now, if Democrats came here with a specific promise, and they were then told, even some of these guys were pressuring the House guys before they even had their vote on their plan, you have to compromise. They're keeping their promises. What's wrong with that?
No, this is startling. I mean, on a couple different fronts. I assure you the American people didn't vote for these guys to come to Washington and take our economy over the edge. What's really startling about that is you have the Speaker of the House, who cannot control his own caucus. And he's talking about his members of his own caucus sort of out in full rebellion. I mean, the American public did not vote for this. They did not vote for this sort of ideological trench warfare, which is what we're getting. And quite frankly, I don't think Speaker Bonnier sort of thought this through either, because right now he has no control of his caucus. He keeps putting out bills, and they keep shooting it down. They run around him to special interest groups outside of the Capitol to attack his plan. It's unbelievable.
He's making some progress tonight, and I gave you that question as T-ball. Let me give you questions as T-ball as well. One of the problems is these guys want to keep their promises, and they do control the House, so they'll pass their plan in the House. The question is what happens next. You have a Democratic Senate, you have a Democratic president. They either compromise or they do look intransigent in the eyes of the American people. ABC Washington Post poll somewhere 77%, I think, say, let's get a deal, get something done.
And here's the good news. It looks like we are going to get something done. I talked a few minutes ago to a freshman Republican in the House, Congressman Tim Griffin from Arkansas, elected with a lot of Tea Party support. He's not only supporting this, he thinks it's going to pass. He thinks it's going to pass soon, tomorrow.
This is the Boehner plan. It's just shy of $1 trillion, about $917.
Because Republicans are waking up, I think, to something. One is that they've achieved tremendous victory already. We're getting real spending cuts, no tax increases, and there's going to be a separate balanced budget vote soon after that. That's quite an accomplishment. Republicans, I think, are beginning to understand that this is not skydiving where you get where you're going in one day. This is going to be a long battle. To do that, we have to win the Senate next time and replace Barack Obama. And the choice now for Republicans in the House, Tea Party support or not, is are you with Boehner or are you with Obama?
I want to show you guys something on the map. One of the reasons I want to talk to you about is this debate plays out, and it's very important. One of the reasons the president wants to get a deal is he doesn't need any more jitters in the economy because he's already going to be running for re-election with unemployment somewhere probably in the 8s. It's at 9.2 now. Most people think it'll go down a little bit, but somewhere in the 8 to 9% ballpark, which if you look into history means very hard to win re-election. And then you have demographic changes happening in the country, and I know both of you follow this quite closely. Let me get the map to come up here. Overall, among white voters, this is what happened in 2008. Pretty much an even split. White voters, Republicans had a slight advantage. This is a Pew Research Center survey saying, look at this, a huge gain for Republicans among white voters heading in. This is 2011, of course, heading in to the next cycle. Another big change is white voters under $30,000 a year. Now, traditionally, lower income, a Democratic constituency, you see Democrats actually carried this subset in 2008. Now, Republicans have a little bit of advantage there, and here's one of the obvious reasons. If you look at it, you have a high unemployment rate among people at the bottom because a lot of people with college degrees and the like are coming out and they're taking jobs away from people who might not have it. So this is partly on a National Journal study and Pew Research. These are states where, and now the president's not going to carry some of these states. You'll see some Republican states and you'll say he's not going to win them. These are some states based on census data where the president can get a lower percentage of the white vote in 2012 than he did in 2008, excuse me. Now, why can he do that? Why can he afford to get fewer white votes in the next election? Well, that's because the Latino population in many states is growing and growing quite quickly. And if the president keeps close to the percentage he got in the last campaign, this is what happens. So first, to Cornell first. Let's start. I want to get to the Latino demographic in a minute. But in terms of the president losing hugely, that's a huge problem in rural white America in a lot of those big industrial electoral college states. Why is it happening?
Well, right now you have a real bad economy. You have a lot of voters who are pretty ticked off at Washington right now. You know, more so than I see it as a swing of the white vote per se. Look, newsflash: Democrats haven't won white voters since LBJ signed the civil rights legislation, and we're not going to probably won't win them anytime soon. However, that said, independent voters swung almost 15 points last time around, and you see some of that going back and forth. If you go back to 2006, those independent voters swung for us. You know, in a state like Pennsylvania, where Casey won 55% of the white vote, Democrats didn't win 55% of the white vote last time around. It is the independent voter who's ticked off about what they see going on in Washington. They keep voting for change, and you're going to see that pendulum keep swinging back and forth.
And it's a complicated puzzle, because the Obama campaign, looking at these numbers, knows, okay, our numbers among whites are going to go down, so we need to keep our African-American turnout, and we need to keep our Latino percentages, because then the number of those voters are growing. And if you're out there and you're a smart Republican, you're saying, no, we got to try to get back. And the immigration debate, other things hurt the Republicans with that constituency a few years ago. But a conservative group, American Crossroads, went first, saying, let's try to now start building up some support among Latinos. Here's their take.
Yo apoyé al presidente Obama porque se expresaba tan bien, pero desde entonces las cosas han ido de mal en peor. Él dijo que para crear millones de trabajos teníamos que gastar miles de millones para estimular la economía. Ahora hay más personas desempleadas y más deuda.
That ad targeted to, obviously, economic concerns to Latino voters. Now, the Democratic National Committee doesn't want to let the Republican argument to Latinos go unanswered, so it responds with this.
Están los republicanos quienes quieren poner fin a la garantía de Medicare mientras protegen las bajadas de los impuestos para los más ricos. Fue el presidente quien extendió el seguro médico para nuestros niños, la ayuda financiera para estudiantes y rebajó los impuestos para la clase media.
One of the things we're dedicated to doing here is improving everybody's Spanish in the next year. So it's a smart strategy for Republicans to try to get at that constituency, but is it a viable strategy?
Yes, and here's the good news for Republicans. Of course, we did very well with the Hispanic vote of George Bush, but the good news for Republicans is it doesn't matter if you're Hispanic, white, black, gay, straight, tall, short. You want to eat. You want a job. President Obama's losing support with everyone. That's what's opened the window for Republicans here. The key line in that Spanish fight is perdiendo trabajo. We're losing work. We're losing our jobs.
All right, Mr. Belcher, you'll get a rebuttal next time. We're out of time.